Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Laughing Boy here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another Ark Survival Evolved video. This one is going to be, it's going to be 10 things you may not know about Ark. Now, this is geared toward new players, so veterans, you probably know all of this stuff already. Anyway, you might give it a look anyhow, just to see, just to make sure, and to give me a few more views. Anyway, without further ado, I think there's actually more than 10 of them, but here they are. Now, the first thing I want to show you is, well, the vanilla game actually comes with two different modes. When you load into the game, you get to this screen. You're going to load in to the normal mode, which is Survival Evolved. In order to switch to Primitive Plus, all you have to do is move your cursor over to the right-hand side of the screen, go down to Primitive Plus Official, click on that, accept the notification. It says changing game mode requires a content load. And ask, do you want to accept or cancel? And yes, I want to accept. The difference in these two game modes is, it's mainly in the engrams that you'll be able to learn. There are things in Primitive Plus that you will not be able to learn. Well, there are things in the normal game, the normal Survival Evolved, that you will not be able to learn in Primitive Plus. Anything electrical. However, there are things in Primitive Plus that you will not be able to learn in Survival Evolved, like lumber. There's also several things in there that are decorative. You can actually go in and make a pizza if you want to. Anyway, so that's just right over here. The next thing I want to tell you about is the fact that the vanilla game comes with 3 actual maps. You have the original map, and you have 2 other DLCs that are free. That is the Center and Ragnarok. Now, in order to play them in single player, you actually have to ascend, which basically you have to go and beat the map. But there's a lot to ascending. I'm not really going to get into that right now. Anyway. But you can also go and play those maps online. You go click Join Ark and choose one that is. You have the island, which is the normal one. You have Ragnarok, and you have the Center. And I'm sure I will find an example of the Center. There's the Center. The Center is not quite as popular as Ragnarok or the island. Another thing that you may not be aware of is when you're playing multiplayer, when you're in the session list. Of course, you can come up here and you can filter the maps and the game mode. From the game modes are PvE, which is player versus environment, or PvP, which is player versus player. And you can sort it by ping, name, player, day. Just because it is on day 1 does not mean that there's not that nothing has been done, because the game can be frozen in time, so the map could be completely developed and still be on day 1. And matter of fact, it could be that not a second has passed. Anyway, what I wanted to show you here, though, is this. Come down here to Session Filter. by default it is on official dedicated arcs. However, if you click on this, you'll get a drop down menu, and there are several other options. Unofficial PC sessions. Just because you're playing on the console does not mean that you can't go there. In fact, that is where all the, if you rent a server, that's where it's going to be listed. There are also player dedicated arcs, non-dedicated arcs, any arc that you have favorited, and official legacy servers. The next thing that you may not be aware of is that when you're playing single player, you actually can go in and adjust several different options. Of course, here's the, you have the difficulty levels, and these things that are on the general tab. Of course, you can go in here and, like, the experience multiplier here is turned all the way up to 3. However, you don't have to rely on this slider. You can go over here to this little this little box, and type in whatever number you desire. Now, be careful on some of these, because bringing them up too much is going to well, it can break the game. But this is not the only tab. These are just the vanilla settings, basically. You can go to advanced, and you can go down here and adjust several other things, like the egg lay interval, the mating interval. This determines how long they have, two creatures have to wait before they can mate again. Egg hatch speed. Again, you can go in here and adjust these by clicking in here and just typing a number, which I obviously did here on these. But something that it may be interesting to, something you may be interested in. Let me see if I can find it again. Why is it not moving? It's not moving. There it is. You can come up here and set the stats. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Well, this is what I'm talking about, right in through here, where it says Tame Dino Stats Affinity. I have them set at I have them set, most of them at 10 on my single player, but I have the I have certain things like stamina and weight set at 40, which is of course way above the scale. Yeah, I'm cheating a bit, but anyway, you can go in here and adjust these, and what this does is every time you put a point in health, it does this. With this setting, it will do 10 times the normal amount. Stamina, do 40 times the normal amount, and and on down through the list here. Another feature that you may not be aware of is the create procedural arc. Now, you have to be aware that this feature, it does work, but on my first attempt, it actually crashed the game before it got finished, and it does take time even when it's working perfectly. It does take time, so you have to have patience when you're trying this. You can come in here and adjust. You can adjust several different things here. Redwood tree density, grasslands tree density, inland water objects density. Let's see, snow biome location. you can see there are several things that you can come in here and adjust, or you can just come in here and you know, and just generate it. Just leave the things set like they are, and you know, generate your own. Or you could come in here and pick one of the presets. So there are several actual maps that you can use on the vanilla game. Another thing that you may not know is, well, you may not have noticed the search option up here. Well, it actually is in several different locations. Let's see if I wanted to search for wood. I can search for wood here. I don't even have to finish typing it out. I just type WOO, and there's wood. There's also wooden signs. You can also switch that over here to crafting, and everything that you can craft that fits WOO will show up here. You can also switch it. I'm going to go to saddle. I'm going to go put in sad, which brought up saddles, and I can only craft one at this point, and I only have one thing in my inventory that has anything to do with saddles, and that is a skin for the parasaur saddle, which is, by the way, the only thing that I can craft. However, you can also go over to your Ingram's menu, and you can go to the search bar up here and type in let's see, saddle or sad, and there is a list of all the saddles that I can and will be able to learn in this game. I can't build a pteranodon saddle right now because I'm not high enough level. Speaking of saddles, when you're out and about just roaming around normally, and you want to bring up the map, you push the touchpad, and there is the blinding paper there. Now, there is your map. However, when you're mounted, when you're riding something, you push the touchpad. You don't see the map. You can see the character is looking at the map, but you can't see it. In order to get to where you can see it on the PlayStation 4, it is the R1 button. And there we are. We're in first-person mode again. Here's another little thing that you might find helpful if you don't already know this. You can see here, I'm looking at a fire. I have cooked meat in there, and I want to get it out. And you see that it says push triangle. It puts the fire out. So, well, in order to kind of bypass that, you can press and hold the triangle button and bring up the wheel. But I'm just going to press the square button and access just the inventory. The same applies for animals, especially animals that have saddles on them. You can just walk up to them and press the square button. That also applies while you're mounted. Access their inventory while you're mounted, while you're standing next to them, you know, without going through the triangle or going through the wheel. Another quick tip is when you're in here and you're wanting to equip clothing, just go to the clothing item and press R2. and it will go to its appropriate location. That also works with saddles, so save a little time. And the last thing I want to show you here, well, it's actually a couple of things, but it's at the obelisk. You see that thing right there? These are there's one there, there's one over there, and there's one up there. The giant things that you'll notice floating in the sky, they're called obelisks. Now, hush. What I want to show you here is this thing. Now, this is where you come for your boss fights. Again, you can press the square button to access the inventory, or well, in this case, you can press the triangle, and that's pretty much all it's going to do. But here you have, well, this one is the one for the dragon, and multiplayer, you can access any of them. And this will tell you what it is that you need to collect in order to go and participate in this boss fight. Of course, the lower level one the lower the level, the less it requires. But that's not what I'm here to show you. What I want to show you is, let me go and get my parasaur real quick. I'm going to run him right over here inside that circle, and we're going to access this. We're going to go over here to this side, and where it says Arc Data, we're going to go over here. We can you can go, basically you can use this to transfer items from your single player, if you have several single player games, you can transfer things back and forth. You can store things in here. So you know, if you're going to ascend, or if you're going to switch maps, you can come over here and you can store things in here. Let's see if I can put some wood in there, for example. And then when you come back over, you're going to have to actually come back over here to take these things out. Now this will stay there. Sometimes there is a decay counter, but not by default. I don't believe it's by default. Anyway, also you can upload and download your tamed creatures. Now, something that you want to take note of is anything that is on that creature. Say if I uploaded that parasaur right now, everything that's in his inventory and his saddle will well, let's just do that real quick. There's his saddle and all of his inventory. And you got to pick this up because, well, it will decompose. It's got 3 hours for you to do that, but yeah, you want to bear that in mind. Another thing that you can do here, let me go ahead and get my parasaur back out. I've got several things in here already. I've got some wyverns that I've actually tamed on a different map. Okay, we're going to download him. We're going to bring him back out. To do that, you click on him, and then you click on this, and there he is. That's not a really good place for you, dude. Let me find that saddle again. I'm going to just go ahead and do that, and then I'll click on his actual saddle, not the skin for his saddle. Press R2, and then I'm going to jump up on him and move him over here. The last thing that I want to show you that you can do here, he's on follow me now. Okay, that's cool. Is going to the center and going to and clicking on this little button right there. Now you want to be careful about this. You want to be sure you want to do this, because what this button does is what it says is uploads the survivor. That means that this survivor, this character, will no longer be on this map. So in order to play on this map, you're going to have to create another character, or you can re-download this character. However, it won't spawn here. Now you may ask, how do you download your character? Well, here on the character creation screen, you simply go over here to where it says create new survivor, and you click down, and you go down one below that and click on download survivor. And just for demonstration purposes, I am on a public server. I am on an official server, and well, you cannot download your survivor on an official server. However, downloading them on rented servers or other servers is kind of up to the person that is hosting it. And of course, you can always download your own survivor to your own single player game. Correction, I said that I tamed those wyverns. What actually happened, of course, I went and stole the egg from a wyvern nest, took it to my little incubator area, hatched it, and it was triplets. Which of course is cool, but it's also a problem. But that's a whole different thing. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was informative. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Laughing Boy out.